science was stillborn pretty much everywhere apart from the Christian West. And it's born within that womb, that matrix of the world is made by a rational God, Logos, and the human mind partakes in that and can detect the patterns, detect the order. It isn't Maya or the veil of illusion like you get in some Eastern philosophies. It's not the work of an evil demon trying to trick us. So Christianity provided the basis for science. And yet we now see religion and science, specifically Christianity and science, as somehow hostile to each other. And the people who like science tend very much to dislike religion, and it's become a rival religion. And I would say that the origins of that are in the Enlightenment and the idea that the purpose of science is to achieve mastery over nature, and man can become a kind of god, eventually achieving not only mastery of physical nature, but also human nature as well. And you get this new kind of scientist who not only wants to understand the world, but dominate it and do the same with human nature too.
Absolutely. And also the infiltration into foundational religions with this concept of pure reason. We can get everything from rationale. I can justify faith in God through materialism, all of these other arguments that are fun to participate in, but really they're what we would call, the classical foundational approach, which is like, oh, well, look, it's look, the design in nature, look, the ontological argument, all of these things. And really that's arguing within the atheist paradigm, because you're still not justifying all your starting things that you're just borrowing ad hoc. And that's what the Enlightenment did, is really, to summarize it, in my view, of course, this is oversimplifying, but they basically said, we don't need to justify the laws of logic and all of these other things. They're just axioms or something like that. This is where we are now, where it's like, no, it's axiomatic. We don't need to justify reason and laws of logic, regularity. We just start from, that's a given. And obviously that's going to be incompatible with Christianity, really, when it comes down to it, because we really are participating in, I guess, in some form of God's mind. We're not God, but we're given some attributes, or like some energies, in say orthodoxy would say uncreated energies, that it's permissible to interact with an intelligible world, right? And so, and it's uniform, and not all of our perceptions are the same, but largely there's universals, right? There's universals we interact with. And we actually start from there. And then you get into like, I think it was Kant who was trying to say that there weren't universals. There's only particulars. And I know he meant it in a way that like they're just concepts, but then you would just apply that to truth. Well, truth is just a concept. So is it real or not? And then you get into solipsism, and there's a lot of logical consequences that lead to absurdity from those views. But yeah, the Enlightenment was not really great for Christianity in the end, at least for those Christians who were like into it, because you're basically get into this class. Now we're in the political, fruit of it, right? Mm-hmm. Which is classical liberalism and Jordan Peterson and all the very pragmatic views of things, right? Not faith-based, not ultimately driven by your desire to know God and to experience humility and all of these things, but rather to live a good life, quote, a useful life, a life where you do stuff and you get stuff and it's fun and you avoid harm and all this stuff. And really, I've been confronting this for the last 2 years too, is that, living a life that's preferable and winning, let's say, in the game of pragmatic material life, is not always consistent with faith, right? It's your faith might be strong and you don't have any perks or amenities or food or your family, and you can be experiencing all sorts of horror, like absolute horror. And this is where we are today, is this kind of constant battle of trying to base morality in well-being and things that are good, and we like them, we like the things, and we have access to water and all this stuff. And it's really totally inconsistent with really the fundamentals, I believe, of Christianity, which are not based in these amenities and these conveniences.
Yeah, the religion, after all, is based on a man dying on the cross, and material comfort, wealth, and happiness has traditionally been seen as an impediment to spiritual progress. So I think you're wise to be suspicious of any path which encourages them as the main priority. And for most of human history, the good life has not been seen as the feel good life. But now it is.